My boy Shawns hatch came over just for a simple tie rod replacement, but upon inspection, this is what we noticed. Steering rack has gone bad. So we just came back from the junkyard. We just went and picked one up, like $24. So he down in there unbolting the steering column from the rack so we can drop it. Say what's up to the camera, Sean.
What's goody?
Just a 1990 Civic hatch. He got originally it was an STD, dual point 1.5, 4-speed, but it had a bad engine when he picked it up, so I had a spare D15B, dual point with a 5-speed transmission, so he ended up swapping it out. He's got everything in the trunk right now to do the multi-port conversion. We just haven't got around to doing it yet. First thing to do, come up underneath the column, and you're going to take that bolt out, that one right there, and that'll allow the steering rack to fall once you take the 14 millimeters out from the bottom, which we're about to do in a second. Sean getting ready to crawl up underneath there right now.
Oh, my neck cracked when I did that. Ah.
Yeah, we're getting old. Alright, so the steering rack itself, you got these two, and the two that he's working on right now.
Filthy mother.
Probably 25-year-old bolts, bro. And you got these two over here.
Oh, I gotta take these over.
Here. Oh. No problems. Can't see. Hold on, I gotta use the camera to see. Hold it, Sean. Oh, shit. Got it?
Yeah.
Alright, so now you just gotta kind of wiggle it down until it falls free from where you did it inside the car.
This other rod in there. Got into it and didn't use my brain. This way I get them on their hand sight harder than a fucking impact. Wheeling coming off.
Look at the make pops.
Made pops, yes.
But to drop the steering rack, you know, you're just gonna take the cotter pin out of that outer, hit it here with a hammer until it frees up after you take the 17 mil off. So he's gonna work on taking that cotter pin out. Booyah.
Piece of donkey shit.
You need a hammer?
17. See what that 17 is?
Did you ever grab it? Here. You checking me?
But no, I was seeing if it was mine or not.
Yeah, whenever you bust these loose, you hit it wherever the bolt is going through. You hit whatever it's going through to free it. Never hit the bottom of the bolt directly. And then it just comes free. Just like that. Easy way to break these loose. I just like to use a pair of channel locks because we're not reusing them. We're putting new ones. So we don't have to worry about messing them up. They come off pretty easy. Just get a good bite, break them loose, and these are old as hell, so they were on there pretty good. I'll give it one more spin, and then we should be able to get it off by hand the rest of the way. And we'll just spin off. Push that one back in. Watch out, Shawns. Oh. And then it frees out, just pulls on out. We got the tie rods. The new one's about ready to go. So now we're about to get the new pinion in. And you pretty much just do this step in reverse. Just slide it back in the same way that you pulled it out. And once you get it in there, you just roll that end up until you can get that spline to go back up through the body. And then you can just put the bolts in. You don't have to torque them all the way down. You can get them kind of finger tight, and then you can go inside and bolt the steering column up to it, and then come back underneath and bolt it down. Slide this boot up over here.
We need red, red kit. That's barely hanging on. Can't get it with the fingers. Oh shit.
Now normally you would use Loctite, but this rack is just temporary until he gets a new one. So we're not worried about that. Alright, so what we did was on the driver's side we left these two bolts loose so that it could hang a little bit so that we can get the knuckle from the column onto that pinion. And then he's in the car tightening it up now, but since he got it on now, I'm gonna go ahead and hand tighten these until he gets that bolted in there snug in there. So I'm gonna make my way up there.
So the nut that you took off earlier down there at the bottom of the steering column, that nut's put back in. Once you feed in the bottom side of the rack and pinion, make sure it's a two-man job while the other person underneath the car feeds it up so you guys can line it up there at the bottom. Once you get it lined up, you put that bolt back in and put it hand tight.
And we're gonna go ahead and snug it up. And just get that tightened up pretty good. Because this is the knuckle that goes onto the rack and pinion. So that when you turn the steering column with the steering wheel, it'll turn that rack. That's nice and tight. So this side is ready to go. So now we can go back underneath and tighten up all those bolts. Alright, so now we're back underneath. We'll just get this rack tightened down because everything is just hand tight right now. Now we got those nice and tight. So now we're gonna put the tie rods on. What we did was when we put the inners together with the outers, we just lined them up. It made them to where they were the same height so that they're pretty close. Let me get on this side. Just laid them next to each other and made them to where they're the same length. And if you notice, we're just using these ripped up boots that were already on it. Don't even have a boot on the other side, but it's just temporary until the new rack and pinion comes. We're just trying to make it so he can get on the road and make it to the house and back and forth to work. He only lives about a mile from his job, so this is, like I said, just temporary until the new one comes in.
Now if you see on your end here, you got two little spacers right here. This washer has these two prongs. When you tighten it up, make sure that you keep them in there.
What happened to your nose?
Alright, so now he's got that one in. Just tightening it up.
You about to take a nap? No.
And he's just tightening it in from this position. You're supposed to tighten it from the other side of the joint, but he's just tightening it from here until it free spins from inside the ball joint. Yep, from right there. And then that'll get it nice and snug.
Got phone calls, yeah.
Tell us about your ringtones, Sean.
Oh, that's just when the wife calls, you know. 'Cause I'm still in love. Oh yeah, by the way, your arm muscles are gonna rip in half. Up. Now we got free spin. The ball joint is spinning now.
All right, so that means that's nice and snug up in there. We'll still go back and tighten them up. But for now, for viewing purposes, we're just going to show you the next step. And which is just straighten this out. Ow. Pop that outer tie rod down through your steering knuckle hole. Ow!
Yeah, my fingers, right? I don't need them.
Yeah.
God gave me 10. I got something to lose.
And then with this, the trick is to just spin it until the hole shows that you can stick the cotter pin through. They don't have to be super tight.
I'm just trying to double fist it.
We're too lazy to actually grab a 17 millimeter.
So see a broken Honda garage, we tend to do things the hard way every now and again.
So then you'll just line it up with the hole.
One more spin on this long.
That's probably about good. Yeah, that's probably about good right there. Because the cotter pin is what actually holds, it's right here. The cotter pin is actually what holds that nut on. So you just do it, bend them back or sideways, however you want to do it. I usually split them, one going one way and one going the other way.
Be careful doing this with your fingertips. You can slip and slice your fingertips open, so disclaimer there.
So now the last thing I do is just tighten down this nut right here, which keeps the inner and the outer tie rod nice and tight together. We should have another wrench on there to hold this one still while he tightens that, but it's all right. And that's nice and snug. So now that's all together. So now what we're gonna do is just go turn the steering wheel back and forth a couple times, make sure everything is nice. Sean just got back in the car and turning the steering wheel from left to right. Just making sure everything's working smoothly with no noises. Everything looks the way it should. It's not banging anymore. It's not making any noises. So now it's all nice and tight. He's definitely gonna feel a difference in it when he's driving. So next step is test drive. So we're gonna go ahead and put these wheels back on. Make sure we got all of our bolts and nuts tight before we do that. And then we'll lower it down and pull it out the garage and go for a spin. So this is the old rack right here, turned into a shake weight. That's
supposed to do that, folks.
Yeah, that's all he would hear driving around. That was the only noise it would make.
This is called the suicide pinion.
So what's up? How'd it run?
Bro, that shit was nice.
I'm dying.
Not with that wheel, even with the wheel being bent, I felt nothing.
So it's nice and tight?
Oh, yeah, nice and tight, no shaking, no nothing. My steering wheel is just
I know.
completely sideways, other than that. And when things break, you come to these guys, you go home a happy person.
Broken Honda garage.